DK Sinha this side, Wall Street just had a difficult week. The S&P 500 fell by 1.43% and Nasdaq 100 dropped a much sharper 2.45%. But here is what makes this week quite interesting. While the US markets are under pressure, Hang Seng surged by 3.55%. So, is this simply a correction in the US markets, or are we seeing an important shift in the global market leadership? Today, we will analyze the price action of S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, Russell 2000, VIX, and then move across Europe and Asia to see what global charts are really telling us. Let us move to the charts for the technical analysis. Let us begin with S&P 500 in weekly time frame. What we can see here is that this was a breakout of a bullish flag, but there was no follow through and there was a loss of momentum. Prior week candle is a small body candle, and here we can see the reducing volume in the prior week. But this week there is a bearish candle, but there is no bearish pattern. Of course, considering the small candle, it could be treated as bearish engulfing candlestick pattern, but nevertheless, unless it closes below this particular median, there is no serious breakdown in S&P 500. So, considering this important several weeks of consolidation, this becomes the important demand area, and EMA 21 will act as a demand area. So, considering this as an independent impulsive wave, if we do the retracement analysis of this wave, what we get here is 38.2% retracement level is here, which is nearly coinciding with 7,622 and 7,610 is the gap that is existing in the daily price chart. So that becomes the immediate support area. However, another level that is 50% retracement is 7,560, which is coinciding with earlier resistance. So we can broadly say that 7,560 to 7,610, which is the gap area, is an important demand area. However, gap should itself act as a demand area. But when we look at the daily price chart, what do we see? We see a recent time pullback, and it is taking support at EMA 21. Can you see the inside bar over here? That indicates the weakening downside momentum. So probably the price is trading quite in proximity of very important support area, and this gap should provide a very important support because gap itself will act as a support, and it is coinciding with 38.2% retracement level, which is a derivative of golden ratio. Now this is the weekly chart of Nasdaq 100. Massive impulsive formation, then a correction, a pullback. Price took support at EMA 21. We saw the bullish pin bar and then follow through. So if we combine these three candles, it was a formation of something like morning star. Now there is a correction, and this week it has formed bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. But we had discussed in the last video about this area to be the supply area 30,200 to 30,450, from where we have seen this kind of rejection. So if cup and handle chart pattern is, which is a continuation chart pattern, is under formation, such consolidation is a welcome move, because once this gives a breakout of this supply area, then we might see upside momentum racing towards 32,462, which is nothing but Fibonacci extension level of 61.8%. When we look at the daily price chart, here too we see a gap at 28,842. So 28,800 becomes a very important support. At the same time, we can see back-to-back very small body candlestick pattern in the zone of EMA 21 and EMA 55. So weakening downside momentum can be witnessed. Overall trend remains bullish because EMA 21 is still placed above EMA 55 and the slope of long-term moving averages like SMA 233 and SMA 144 are inclining up. This is the daily price chart of Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. What we can see, this is a trend line which is acting as a dynamic support and this is quite coinciding with EMA 55. So considering the recent time price action, we can conclude that EMA 55 will act as a very important demand area. Here there is a small gap which also will act as a support area. Now there is a bounce back after it has given a breakdown of EMA 21, but this was the important supply area where buying action can be seen on Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the index is trading quite in proximity of very important support area. Last trading session saw what? A formation of a bullish piercing candlestick pattern and closing above EMA 21 over here. So finally 52,600 becomes a very good support in Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. This is the daily price chart of Russell 2000 Index. Here too we can see it is trading quite in proximity of demand area. Earlier we can see the multiple price rejection over here. So earlier resistance post breakout should act as a demand area which is also having a support of EMA 21 which is already acting as a dynamic support. And during the last trading session, a formation of a inside bar indicates weakening downside momentum. This is the weekly price chart of VIX, that is a volatility against S&P 500 index. It has gone up this week by around 6.17%. But see its value, it's 15.14, quite in proximity of the lower usual band of volatility index. So nothing alarming in volatility index. Now we are moving to Europe markets. This is FTSE 100 index in weekly time frame. See this trend line which is valid since April 2025. Multiple time prices taken support here and it is quite trading in proximity of this dynamic support. If I draw a horizontal line, can you see? This was acting as a resistance and the price is now bouncing from this particular horizontal line which is now acting as a support. So this week FTSE 100 has given a positive return of 0.62%. Now this is daily price chart of UK's FTSE 100. See this horizontal line. Multiple time price got rejected and there was a breakout over here. So during this pullback, price has taken support on this horizontal line and now it is bouncing. The important is during the last trading session of this week, it has finally closed above EMA 21. Overall trend is bullish. EMA 21 is placed above EMA 55 while the slope of long-term moving averages are sloping inclining up. This is the weekly chart of DAX index. This index during the week has fallen by 1.15% and we discussed about this, that this is the resistance area and we expected that this kind of correction might take place and that is what exactly is happening. But at the same time, this was the area of support where there was a breakout of this area. So 25,500 to 25,600 in DAX index is a very important demand area. And this is the daily price chart of DAX index. What do we see? This is an impulsive wave pullback. Price took support at EMA 21 and now it is bouncing. During the last trading session of this week, there is a formation of one white soldier candlestick pattern with a rise of 0.59%. It seems that the pullback is over and even if the deeper correction takes place, this is the important gap which will provide a support to this index because there is an intervention of EMA 55 as well. So this is the weekly chart of Japanese index, Japanese market Nikkei 225. This was the trend line we discussed in the last video and I was acting as a dynamic support. So when we do the retracement analysis of this prior impulsive wave, bounce we had witnessed from 38.2% retracement level, which is a derivative of the golden ratio. So this week, the market has fallen by 3.93%, but it is trading quite in proximity of this trend line and EMA 21. So I see a very strong support at 63,180 level. When we observe the daily price chart of Nikkei 225, what do we see? This was an important pullback and this is the minor correction. What has happened in last two trading sessions? There is a formation of inside bar indicating that weakening momentum is there on downside, and overall trend remains bullish because EMA 21 is placed above EMA 55 and long-term moving averages are inclining up. Now this is the market of the week. Hang Seng index. This is the weekly chart. This index has given a return of 3.55% this week. If we see this counter trend line on closing basis, there is a breakout. But this is not a decisive breakout. So we need to have a follow through of this candle. However, when I draw one more trend line, look at closely. This is the trend line. What does it indicate? That during the recent correction, this is the left shoulder, head formation, and could be the potential light shoulder. If this trend line gives a breakout, means if high of this candle, this week's candle is 26,009, if there is a follow through of this high of this candle, then we might see an upside momentum further developing in Hang Seng index. Now this is the daily price chart of Hang Seng index. During the last day of this week, it has formed the bullish kicker candlestick pattern and finally managed to close above SMA 233, but is still trading in the supply area. So we need to have a follow through of this candle. Once this start trading above 26,200, we might see an upside momentum developing, and if I project the next level, it could move towards 28,000 level, which is nothing but 61.8% expansion level, and 100% expansion level comes at 29,550. Now this is the weekly chart of Korean market, South Korea's market, that is KOSPI. This trend line is holding good since April 2025 with multiple support over here. In the recent time also, it has taken a support on EMA 55 with a pierce through action and finally closing above this trend line, forming a pin bar kind of formation. If you do the retracement analysis of the prior impulsive wave, what do we see? It has tested the golden ratio and then it is bouncing. So it is trading quite in proximity of the support area. However, this week the index has fallen by 0.93%, but there is no serious change in the market expectation. If you look at the daily price chart, what do we see? Bullish kicker formation, then there is a follow through. So it is taking support on this particular area, which is a demand area of this index. Overall, intermediate and long-term trend are bullish. However, there is a short-term trend which has become negative. EMA 21 has crossed under EMA 55. The moment prices start trading above EMA 55, we might see upside momentum developing in Korean market as well. Before you go, remember, global markets can change very quickly, and 1 week can completely change the picture. So never miss our weekly US and global markets analysis. Join me every week. We decode the charts, price action, global market trends. See you in the next one.